The ultimate goal of reading instruction is comprehension. That is the ability to extract meaning from text. Now that meaning can be quite utilitarian in terms of following instructions, or if you're like me, to experience profound existential crises through reading particular types of fiction. Now, in order to get to the point where we can experience profound existential crises thanks to reading, we need to decode. That is, we need to be able to connect the print that we're reading with the sounds that that print represents. Mapping sound to print and vice versa is known as phonics. The field of phonics itself is not monolithic. There are actually different schools of thought within it. On one side, you've got analytic phonics. Analytic coming from this Greek word, which I won't try to pronounce because I don't want to be cast down to Hades, but essentially means to loosen up or break apart. So analytic phonics is all about going from whole to part. And the way this is usually handled is by breaking apart words into these subunits that can be looked at. So often that's onset and rhyme. Onset being the initial phonological unit in a word, and rhyme being the string of letters that represent the back half of that word. In cat, the onset is k and the rhyme is at. And what analytic phonics does is it sort of groups words into word families based on the rhyme of those words. So the word rat would belong to the at word family, words that share that at rhyme, cat, bat, fat, sat. And the word duck would belong to the uck word family, alongside words like pluck, tuck, and fuck. And then the way that the learner begins to sort of ascribe sound to print through analytic phonics is by taking a new word, sort of breaking it up, and then comparing it with the parts of other words they presumably already learned. So the new word might be book. The learner would then take that apart and look at the rhyme being ook and go, oh, okay, I've seen other words with this spelling in it. It must be ook. And then taking the onset, b, and going, oh, I've seen the word bat. That has the b at the start, so it's probably b. Ook. Now you can sort of feel how inefficient that process is, and that's because it is inefficient. The thing is, there are hundreds and hundreds of these word families. For beginning readers, to put the onus on them to be able to essentially explore the orthography of new words, map them against other similar words in their Rolodex, and then decode them is quite a lot of cognitive labor. Synthetic phonics, on the other hand, takes the opposite approach, essentially taking the 44 phonemes that we use in our speech, mapping those onto the letters or clusters of letters we use to represent those phonemes in print, and then combining those together to build words. From parts to whole, we synthesize. Synthetic phonics is much more systematic and sequential, often following a very robust scope and sequence, just like spellcasters. Now, these are designed to start with the most common and simplest grapheme phoneme correspondences before moving up to more complex and less common occurrences. Throughout this process, students are explicitly and deliberately taught how to build words with these grapheme phoneme correspondences and blend them together to sound them out, as well as being taught to segment words apart and then write those sounds down with the graphemes they know can represent those sounds, which is super helpful for spelling. So the bottom-up approach is much more logical, much more systematic, and much less cognitively demanding than the top-down approach to teaching kids phonics. And it's why the foundation of Spellcaster is firmly rooted on a systematic synthetic phonics scope and sequence. So until next time, I'm Rupert, building Spellcaster. Do jump on a trial. Thanks to those who have. Hit me up with feedback. See you later.